Hey family, it's Tracy. I'm back for my next blog. It's been quite a while, so I do apologize for taking so long in between blogs. I think my last one was prior to the summer, so I apologize. But with work and going back to school and spending a good summer with the kids, I just kind of got lost in the shuffle. But hopefully, I won't wait so long before my next one. So, this blog, in case you guys don't know, and if this is family watching it for the first time, this blog series is one I decided to do just to share with family and some friends who may be interested, but mostly for my children to share with their children in case I'm not around when they have kids of their own or their kids have kids. And I was kind of hoping that maybe these little blogs that I do give my future um, generations a little insight into who I am and how I think and how I go about things. So that's kind of the purpose behind the blogs. But for this blog, and I have to apologize up front because I'm not feeling well and I'm a little tired and maybe even a little cranky. so, um, but for this vlog, I decided that I wanted to kind of talk about something that came to me as a result of listening to a radio show I listen to every day during the week when I go into the office, which is the Steve Harvey Show. So, Steve Harvey's radio show is kind of big during this time period. Hopefully, um, future generations will have some knowledge of it. But if not, he's a very good radio personality, actually actor, writer, very well known during this time. And like I said, I listen to him during the week. And usually I'm in the office around 5:30 because 5:30, 5:45ish in the morning in Philly where I work. Um, and I like getting in. I'm a morning person, so I like getting in very early and starting to get work on things and get a lot of stuff done by the time people enter the office. But usually in the mornings, I turn on the Steve Harvey show and I listen to it and I get a lot of laughs. But usually Steve starts off the show with some inspirational topics or comments for people, which are very good in the sense that it's not that it's new information because I think a lot of what he talks about all of us really know and we've heard before, but Steve has a unique way of saying it to people, and I think sometimes it gets through where somebody else who you may know or a family member may say the same thing, but sometimes we tend to tune them out. But then when you have a third party who's pretty much saying those things to you, it kind of sinks in. And one of the topics that Steve was talking about last week, I believe it was how things happen for a reason. So, and I look back in my life and, I found that to be so very true that there's a lot of things in life that you go through. And at the time you don't understand why you're going through them and you ask yourself why and you think it's unfair and you may even resent the fact that you have to deal with things. But in the end, what I've learned, as hard as those things are, I'm better for them. And that was one of the things that, kind of came out from me listening to Steve was things happen for a reason. And we may not, understand them at the time, but in the end, as long as we learn from them and we become stronger from them, it's worth it. And like I said, it's so many things in my life, that um, there are painful times where you don't know why you're at where you're at, and you don't think, that you can ever see beyond the space that you're currently in. And what I've found is that when you come on the other side of it, it's so worth having gone through it. As painful as that time may have been, just the fact that I'm a better person and I like who I am now made it all worth it. Um, I can think of times where, especially when I was real young, and I think as teenagers, we tend to think that life is so unfair and nobody gets us, and, we don't understand why things aren't fair and why, if we're not doing anything really bad, then, why do we have to deal with, our parents coming down on us or a teacher or, you know, things like that. And it seems like the end of the world at that time because, when we're teenagers, everything is so amplified more so than I think than we know. And so we kind of look at things sometimes as this is the end of the world, it'll never get better. I can't deal with this. And one thing I do want to say, if there's any teenagers who view this at a later date, is that as bad, even young people actually, as bad as things seem and as dark as that time is, you will get through it. There's always into those trials and tribulations that you're going through. Um, and sometimes we have to really hurt to appreciate when we do get through those dark times and to really, understand what life's about and how we can become better people. So, I do remember some of those times, even in my younger 20s, where I just felt like, I'm a good person and I try to do things right. Why is this coming to me, or why are these things happening to me, or why is this person treating me this way? And what I think a lot of us have a problem understanding, um, or actually, I think when we're young, we want the affection of other people so much that we kind of look past our own needs and our own what's best for us. So that kind of puts us in a space where we open ourselves up to um, painful experiences and things like that. I think when I was younger, I always wanted to see the good in everybody. And I believe that, only good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people. I didn't understand that that is not how life works. I lived such a sheltered life that it was hard for me to grasp that, just because you're a good person doesn't mean bad things don't happen to you. And it took some hard life lessons for me to really get that message. Um, and I had to learn to love myself and realize just because those bad things were happening to me, or just because I had to face those dark times in my life, didn't mean that I didn't deserve to be happy or I didn't deserve good things. Um, and when sometimes you can say, you have to say actually, enough's enough. Um, I am not putting up with these things in my life, and I am going to make changes to myself and to my life to get to where I need to be. And sometimes those painful things that you have to face are just the catalyst to get you to make those choices and make those decisions. Um, I think also that sometimes people think, okay, well, God will fix things for me, and I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, and God will work it out. And I think I probably said this in another video. You can't depend on God to make those changes for you, or your higher power that you believe in. A lot of times they set the groundwork and the road in front of you that you need to travel, and you are the one who has to work for that and take those steps. You just can't sit there and expect someone else to fix your problems. Um, So I definitely want to stress that, is sometimes getting out of those dark situations and those bad times in your life, and actually not sometimes, all the times, it requires work on your part. You have to make those hard decisions and those hard choices, and sometimes you have to take a few steps back from where you are to get to where you want to go. So um, I definitely want to stress that, especially to the younger people, because we get so lost sometimes when we're trying to find our way in life, and when our life isn't going the way that we want it to go, we kind of get stuck sometimes. And you know, I don't want something harsh more than what you're going through to happen to cause you to take action. Sometimes it takes self-reflection, and sometimes it means cutting people and things out of your life that maybe you don't want to, but you have to move forward. So, just make sure you understand that. The other thing I wanted to say, one thing that Steve said that really struck home was that sometimes the devil puts imps in your life that kind of make it more difficult and stir things up. And that it's so funny that he said that. And it made me laugh at the time. But you know, in a way, I kind of relate that to. I think when um, we think of, imps or devil putting obstacles in our lives, sometimes we think that those obstacles are always evil and bad and things like that. And I can honestly say I don't think that is always the case. I think sometimes those obstacles or those imps, as he called them, are just the wrong people in our lives, or we're at the wrong places in our lives, where it's not that it's necessarily that they're bad and those things are bad, but they're bad for us. They might be right for somebody else, but they're bad for us. And that's when we have to say, hey, those things we need to remove from our presence and remove from our lives, and move on. And I understand that sometimes there are people and things where maybe at that time you can't cut them out of your life. Maybe you're living at home with a parent, and you're dependent on them, and it's a really bad situation, and you're not financially able to get out of a situation, or not or maybe not even a parent, or a spouse or a maid or a partner, or whoever. um, you know, the first step is recognizing that bad situation, and the second step is taking the steps that you need to do to get out of it. So if that means getting another job, a better job, or getting a second job, or putting in more hours, or taking a rinky-dink, one-bedroom place you know, that you can afford, over something that's more to your liking, to get you out of that situation. I think sometimes that's what we have to do. Um, and the other thing I wanted to say is sometimes the bad things in our life aren't always external, um, they're internal. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy. Um, when we don't value ourselves, or when we are willing to accept less than what we deserve, or um, even when we're call ourselves being friends, but we're putting out negative energy to the people around us, that comes back on us. When you're putting out negative energy, you're going to get that negative energy back. I mean, if you call yourself, downing someone, or complaining about someone, and I'm not talking about, just joking or making a passing comment, because I think we all do that to make light of situations. But when you take a look back, if you can, sit down and take a look at yourself and look back over the last month or 2 months or year, and really truly look at yourself and see all the negative things you've said or done, to yourself and to others, and make a honest, attempt and a promise to yourself not to go down that route again, your life is going to get better. Sometimes when we're so stuck in our own misery, we don't realize that we're putting that out into other people's environment and other people's worlds, and maybe that's why they're cutting us off or don't not picking up the phone when we call, or don't want to be around us as much anymore because because of what we're doing, what we're doing and saying. It may not be that we're doing anything to them directly, but we're talking so negatively about ourselves and our situation that it just turns them off. Because even when you care about someone, listening to their negativity a lot actually takes a lot of energy out of you. And if you've ever experienced that, you know that I'm telling the truth about that. So that's another part. It's just, you're never perfect and you're never going to be perfect. And one of the keys um, to growing and being a better you is self reflection and being able to be honest with yourself about who you are, and what you do and the decisions you make. And if you can learn from that and make better choices, then you're on the path to success. So, really, that's all I wanted to say before I get ready for bed, because I am really tired and I have work tomorrow. Um, but, I just wanted to share that with future generations, and hopefully, you got something out of what I just said. And hopefully, again, I won't take us long before the next video. So, anyway, family, thanks for listening. Let me drone on, and I love you. Take care. Good night.